Hi there, Jeff Africa, J Africa's Last Dance, the channel where we're going to get to the heart. We're going to move from our head into our heart and live, perceive, experience life from there. On this channel, that's what this channel is all about. Tired of living in the old head, old thoughts, old emotions, old ways. We're moving into the new heart here, okay? I'm going to do it right in front of you. And you're going to want to do it too when you see me do it. All right, you got that? Okay, here we're going to do the one of the last heart practices I did. Okay, we're going to do that again, because it's an important one. It's been sent. I've come across it a couple times, so it must be pretty big. And so we're going to try that again. Okay, here we go. This was the last heart practice I gave you, and this is the one we're going to do here. Both hands here. Okay, on your chest, like this, right in the heart space, okay? Okay, and let them rest there, okay? Let them rest there for a moment. Close your eyes and feel that warmth. Feel the presence of your hands on that heart area, okay? Take a soft breath in, conscious breath in, like a soft wind into that area. In, like a soft wind out. There we go. Let go. Let go. When you take that breath, let go consciously into where you see, sense, feel your heart space. Okay? You let go and you begin to consciously focus on that heart space. See what you can see, sense, or feel. Okay? As you sit there, consciously claim this feeling that you're having in your heart space. This is my beloved heart space. This is the most important thing to me right now, my ever-opening heart space. Okay, that's claiming that heart space. Okay, bring in the sacred sound into that heart. Feel, sense, or see the opening of the essence as you bring in this sacred sound. Here's the sacred sound. That's a sacred galactic sound. Interesting, that's something that simple, huh? And then open your awareness to the imprint that is opening there. Okay, they say imprint, and I'm doing this every morning now. And I don't know if I've noticed what the imprint, when they say that, what it really means, but it will come. So see if you can sense that imprint there. Utilize the sacred sound as many times as you want to create that sense of imprint, to create that sense of energy and flow in that area. All right, take another conscious breath into that area. Here we go, in, long, deep, like a soft wind, soft, loving, tender-hearted wind into that area. There we go. Let it back out again. Very, very good. And see if you can sense, see, or feel the essence and the energy and the light that is beginning to gather there. And just relax. Let go. Simply be. See if you can sense the imprint there, okay? I'm doing this every morning. Just quietly, just see if you can sense something there. All right. And that is the first step to this. You can also create. This is a good tool for creation. I'll show you how to do that there. That's another one that came through. And remember I was telling you how we can create with the heart, how we place something in the heart and put it in there with glory and wonderfulness. And let it sit and then don't do anything. And the universe will come around and give you that experience, okay? You're creating with your heart space. You got to move toward it in your actions and stuff. But let the heart and the universe bring the things, if it's designed or if it's destined to happen, let it bring in these elements to experience this, something you've placed in your heart. Okay, I have something going on in there right now. So we'll see how that develops. Okay, that is the heart activating heart, sensing, feeling. How do we bring our conscious awareness out of our head and begin to focus more and more on our heart? The more we focus on things, the more they become alive and active, okay? The more they become real, and so on and so forth. So that's a very, very good exercise to do. Do it once a day, okay? Really, once a day, maybe even twice. But just see what develops, okay? We're in this together. We're both going to make this through together. Okay, now let's take a quick visit back to the psychedelic I experienced, the experience I explained to you last video. And I wanted to hit one part of that very, very carefully here. When that guy came up to me, and I was, longing to jump in that water, he comes up to me and he says, "I know where we can go." He was really acting as a messenger of God in a certain way, an arm of God, getting me to around that area where I could take that swim that I was sort of lusting after. So when things kind of went the wrong way, how I described to you what he sort of did, and it wasn't making me feel comfortable, the way I handled that truly was what we're dealing with here. Remember I said on one of my videos that tender-heartedness, kindness, and care? Okay, so when I was swimming, I looked up and I noticed him doing something I wasn't comfortable with. I kind of led the experience to something more in a careful way, in a kind way, to let it to something where I was more comfortable with, okay? And the way I handled that was really quite good, because I didn't shame him. I didn't overreact. I didn't go, "God bless America," any of that stuff. I was very carefully just said, "Look, I'm not I'm not comfortable with this," and so it all came around fine, but I didn't freak out about it or anything. And I the way I handled that was very, very carefully, very, very kind. I didn't make him worse. I didn't make the situation worse. I kept the vibration of the experience going upward. Once again, when I get in these states, sometimes I'm very loving and very allowing. And why would I want to shame or to negatively impact somebody who was really functioning generally, aside from his personal journey there, his personal agenda there? Besides that, why would I want to do any of those things? Because he was really an arm of God at that point, getting me around that bend and where I can get that swim taking place. It was a really wonderful day. And it wasn't so apparent to me then, but it's apparent to me now. All the beings that were around that event, watching and looking on, were very, very pleased with the way I handled that situation in that way. And I met the guy subsequently. I met him a couple of times, walked by him in Los Gatos, and we talked and we sat and we just exchanged things. At no time did I ever let him know, and indeed, no time was there in me any desire to go back there and to kind of let him feel that he had done something inappropriate. You know what I mean? And there's nothing like that in me at all. If there's any greatness that the few times that shows up in my lifetime, my personal greatness, it was the way I kind of handled that whole situation and really didn't feel other than, that was something that happened and we moved past it and that's fine. Now it's gone. Period. Just gone. And that's how we handle these things, okay? Very few people on earth would have handled that as well as I handled that, okay? And I'm very, very proud of that was the beginning of, this is when, this is back some time ago, quite some time ago, and I wasn't really privy to all the things I know now. And I still, at that point, knew the right thing to do at that point, and that's what I did, okay? So hooray for that. And that's the way we wanted to handle things moving forward. Don't freak out. Don't make things worse. Always give the experience a ride upward, okay, not downward, by your reactions and your responses. Okay, now doubt. Here we go. This is one of the things I cook for myself. This is a lead into when we get into eating and diet and all that kind of thing. The doubt is a wonderful thing, a wonderful nutritious thing to eat and consume. And this is how I make my dal at home. So listen very carefully. I take about a quart pot, a little quart and a 5-quart pot. There you go, 5-quart pot, and 5 cup pot. Okay, a quart and a cup. sauce pot, heavy bottom. Put it on a burner. Turn that burner on to slightly less than medium. Okay, put some ghee in there. Ghee is a wonderful thing to cook with. Ghee is one of the substances that doesn't change when you heat it. Okay, it retains its molecular integrity. Even the good oils, the rest of the oils, when you heat them, they change and they turn into what was good for you. Now it's bad for you. A lot of the oils aren't good for you in the first place anyway. But even a good olive oil like olive oil, if you heat that, is now bad for you. Okay, so ghee really is one of the best things to saute with, and I use a certain amount of it to get that done. I take about a third to a half a cup of onion diced, throw that in that ghee. I took 5, 6, 7 cardamom pods, crush them up, throw those in that onion. I take a couple of bay leaves, throw those in the onion, and I take allspice. Grind that up and throw those in there also. So I've got the onions, the ghee, the bay leaf, the cardamom, the allspice. What else? A whole 2 or 3 whole cloves of garlic. I don't chop the garlic up. I just leave it whole, and I let that go. Okay, I put a lid on it, and let those onions. It's going to steam a little bit. Let those onions plump up a little bit as they're sautéing, and I lift the lid off and stir them around. Put that lid back on and let that process continue. We are going to plump those onions up, and we're going to take that lid off and finish sautéing them on a lower heat kind of a thing, and let them become a dark brown, a brown. One thing I learned from this lady that I learned how to cook this dal from, in India, they brown those onions to a sugary, dark brown sort of a color, which gives tremendous flavor to the ghee. Okay, so those are sautéing. I've taken out a cruet, a large cruet. They're about this big, a shallow, you know what cruets are, those French beautiful little pots that they have. And this is a shallow sauté one with 2 handles on each side. I begin to warm that up and between medium, low and medium, okay, just about there to start warming that up. I take seeds, cumin seeds and coriander seeds, okay. I crushed each of them in a mortar and pestle, about 2½ tablespoons each, okay. And I crushed them really good in a mortar and pestle. I put them in 2 separate bowls and I set them aside. I get a smaller plate, okay, and I begin to line up these spices: 2½ to 3 tablespoons paprika, 2½ to 3 tablespoons turmeric, 2½ to 3 tablespoons garam masala, okay, which is just a form of Indian spice. The richer sort of flavors: nutmeg, clove, cinnamon, star anise in certain instances. And it just adds to the flavor of all these other spices we're cooking together. I put in ancho chili powder, a teaspoon or so ancho chili powder. I put in half a teaspoon of cayenne, maybe less, depending on how hot it is. Let me see what else I do there. And some Aleppo chilies, which is just a fruity sort of a chili. You don't have to add that. I add that. Okay, so as we were watching that pot now, caramelizing those onions, I make sure that the cruet now is warm enough, and because the cumin and the coriander are bigger, I put those in first, and I began toasting and roasting those in that pan. No oil, no nothing, just the pan and those spices. I look down at I get eye level at that pan, and what I want to see at that point is a little bit of smoke wisping up. Okay, just a little bit, because we're toasting those seeds and the cumin and the coriander. Okay, as we toast those. We stir them. I flip the cruet like this, and after they toast for a little bit, then I put in maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Get them going first, because like I say, they're bigger than the powders. Okay, then I dump that plate of powders. I just shove that all in that device, and begin toasting all those spices together. I've chopped up somewhere along the line. I've chopped up about 2½ tablespoons of ginger along that. So I'm toasting these spices, stirring them, or whipping them around, and I'm looking down, looking for that little bit of wispy of smoke, and we're just browning them. We don't want to over brown them, but we're just toasting them just a little bit to bring out their flavors and get that toastiness to it. It's really a unique, better flavor than just raw. And then I throw in the ginger, okay? And I make one last stir. And we're talking the toasting process is probably takes about 4 or 5 minutes. That's all. Then I take that. I turn that heat off. I take that cruet off that burn. I continue to stir to make sure you get a good stir, so none of those brown or get too burnt on sitting on the pan without being stirred. Okay, as that pan cools, it's not so important. Okay, I go back to the sauce pot. Lift that sauce pot up. I use sprouted lentils, okay, a combination sprouted lentils, which are great for you. Lentils are great for you at all. In 1 cup of cooked lentils, there's 17 grams of protein, plus they have a great profile. I get this True Root product where they sprout them and they dry them, okay, so I take a cup of those, I throw that into the onions once they're caramelized in that deep brown sense. And then I add about almost 4 cups of water, and I add about 2-3 tablespoons of soy sauce to enrich in that flavor, get that flavor going in the right direction. And I slowly bring that to a boil. Now, this is sprouted stuff, so the bioavailability is much greater when you sprout things, much more accessible, increases the life and all the ingredients, all the wonderful vitamins and minerals and all those things, they kind of come alive once you sprout them. Now, we could say once you sprout them, generally you eat them. You don't dry them and cook them. If you dry them and cook them, aren't we working against ourselves? Aren't we killing really everything that the with sprouting was intended to do? And yes, you could make that argument, and I thought about that myself, and yes, that's partially true. But we're doing the best we can here. We cook it as least as we can, because you don't have to cook these like regular lentils. You bring that pot to a boil, and you turn that down to a small simmer for about 4 minutes, then you turn it off completely, and let those sprouted lentils steep. Okay, and finish cooking that way. That's all it takes to cook these. That's great. If you have real lentils, you have to soak them a little bit. Do this same process, but you're gonna have to cook it a little bit longer. Maybe cook it for a slow simmer for 25-30 minutes. Transfer it to the spices and finish it there. It's a different, longer cooking process, but with the sprouted, it's a wonderful product. The good thing about this is the spices are really great for you. Everything's great for you in this dish. That's why it's just a great design dish. Here we go. All those cumin, coriander, paprika, turmeric, garam masala, ancho, cayenne, all those things have properties that are great for your whole body. Here are some of those properties here. They all have antioxidant properties. They all have anti-inflammatory properties. They all fight cancer. They all, some of them assist with heart disease. Most of them assist with age-related chronic pains and aches and pains and diseases and situations in your body. They support your gut. All those wonderful spices coat your intestines and enliven them a little bit, clean them in certain ways. There's acne in all those spices, which is a force in Indian Ayurvedic that enlivens that whole digestive processes. As we get older, sometimes the digestion area of our life gets weak, a little bit weaker, So these spices strengthen that fire of digestion that is nice to get to when as we get a little bit older. Gut support. There you go. Blood sugar. All right, they all contribute to supporting spikes, spikes in blood sugar, or they all contribute to your blood sugar evening out, and stabilizing. Brain health, some of them have direct brain health aspects to them. Some have liver aspects to them. Antimicrobial, the cardamom is great for killing gut bacteria and fungus that you don't want. It'll do the same thing for your liver. The sprouting, like I say, it makes everything, all the nutrients more available in that scenario. And this whole dish is just so so wonderful in so many different ways. I take, okay, once that steeps in, I return that pot that has all those spices into it, the ginger and all the powders and the coriander and the cumin. I turn that on meat, and I take that pot and dump them into the spices, okay? And I stir them around, stir them in, get that nice big color from all those spices, and I get that up to a really, really slow simmer, because they're pretty much done at this point, but I'm just letting all those flavors combine. I take spinach and a flat leaf parsley that I have bought. The best you can buy. I buy the best produce you can buy from farmers markets. They're probably picking them Saturday. I get them Sunday, and they are so fresh and green. So when I use stuff, it's not only that I use the stuffs that are good for you. I'm using the best organic version of this stuff. And so it's just a wonderful way, way better than the stuff you're getting in the stores when you go to the farmers markets and the right farmers market, picking out the right things. I rinse a large amount of spinach and parsley, about this much in a colander, shake it out, chop it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, about an inch apart, chop it each size of it so it's a little bit cut up. And then I turn off, as that thing had simmered a little bit, I turn off that pot. Okay, and I put in the spinach and the parsley and stir it all in and leave it on just for a moment so I can see one more bubble as it develops the heat necessary. And then I turn that thing off. Okay, I turn the heat off and put a lid over that big cruet, a big open air, open pan cruet. And that's it. I steep that Italian parsley. I steep that spinach. I don't really cook it. So it just starts to slowly cool down at that point, and develop flavor and kind of cook in a way, but it's going in the cooling direction. They're just melding together at this point. At some point, about 10 minutes, I pull the lid off. I add more ghee, okay, about 2 tablespoons of ghee, and stir that in, all right? And then I stir in maybe 3 tablespoons of a green chili salsa. We have this Hatch Valley special sort of flavor chilies, Hatch Valley chilies they call them. I stir in a little bit of that, and it is really a wonderful thing to behold. That little tartness and the greenness of that salsa adds another little dimension to that whole dish, and it's just delicious. It's a delicious dish. I eat it sometimes. I'll take it and I'll eat it my first batch. I'll take it, spoon it into a bowl, add a little bit of feta cheese. That's a sheep milk cheese. I steer away from cow's milk cheese, but I will have a little bit of cheese these days. Cheese isn't good for you, but I will have a little bit certain ways. Sheep's cheese is feta is one of the best cheeses you can have as far as that goes. But be careful with cheeses; they're not really good for you. We'll go into this later. But feta, a little bit of lime juice, a little bit of olive oil, just in a bowl. That's delicious as it is. I'll roast a yam. Then I'll slice it, in big thing about that thick, and I'll saute them in butter for a bit and kind of get them browned a little bit. I'll serve that dal with the yam. I'll serve the dal with broccoli. It was lightly steamed broccoli. I'll serve the dal with an egg. I'll serve it with an avocado and a shredded beet and carrot salad. As I have gone into my cooking career, my deal was I wanted people who ate my design meals to leave a little healthier than when they came, which should be the goal of all chefs, really. So I understood that as I designed plates and stuff like that, to have a little bit of raw on those plates was a very, very good thing to do for digestion. Okay, it helps. It's like roughage, making it pass through in an uncomplicated way, and in a way that doesn't really stick to the walls of the intestines and stuff like that. That's the dal I cook, and that's how I serve it. And it is a little bit of cracker, one of those seeded crackers, those types of things. And it's just delicious. I've had this with like broccoli, just slightly steamed broccoli, which is another flavor, another powerhouse of nutrients. And it is just so good. It is unbelievably good. And that's the dal I cook. And it is a delicious dish, packed with nutrients, packed with life, packed with things that are good for you. And like I say, lentils are very, very wonderful things. I was doing it first with mung beans. Mung beans might be even a little bit better than lentils, but they had a mung bean sprouted product like that. But they haven't had that recently, so I moved to lentils. But mung beans are very, very good for you too. So that is that's how I cook dal. And this is just an introduction into the consciousness that I cook with now. Because once I say ever increasing alertness, ever increasing awareness is the goal here. More important than a good education, okay? Commit yourself to ever increasing awareness and alertness. And as I've been cooking, I got more and more aware of what I was doing and more comprehensive in wanting to get the people I was serving. The good thing about cooking was this, I've made a lot of money with cooking, but the good thing about cooking is you're in service to others. It's a natural way to serve others. And that's what I always felt. I'm in service to others now. I want to give them the best meal I know how, and I want to give them the most healthy meal I know how. And so when they walk out that door, they're a little bit healthier than when they walked in that door. Okay, and this is one of the fairly healthy things I do. I'll make a couple of batches a month, and then feast on it for 5 days, something like that. But it's delicious and it's brilliantly good and so good for you in so many different ways. And you can feel it in your body as you eat food. Always listen to the register of your body and see how it is telling you whether it likes or doesn't like what you have gave it. Okay, let me see 4-3 here. Joke of the day. Okay, I go quickly. Okay, my dad was a surveyor. He surveyed a lot of the freeways around there back in the 70s, 60s, 70s. And they were surveying this area, and there's a little bar there. So they would go in there at lunch. They would go in there probably a couple of dinners and drink after work, or they had a little food there during the lunch. This is probably 9 or 10 of them would go in there. Probably most lunches. And my dad would get the most out of his crew. He was the party leader. He'd say, "Look, you guys, we'll get to that steak down there. We're going to get a drink. We're going to get a bar before we go home." So that's how they were great. I'll tell you more about that sometime. But they were a band of brothers. They were. I mean, this is the old men. This is the old man world that used to exist. You know what I mean? So one time they were raising hell in that bar, and the son of the bar owner, which is an ex-cop, gets mad at them because they're raising hell. And he goes, "All right, all you guys out of here. We're 86 of you guys from this place." So they go, "Well, okay." So they walk out, and that's it. They don't go back there, So in about a week and a half, they look up, they hear at noontime, here comes the ex-cop with two six packs of beer running down that street going, "You guys, come on back now, man." And they said, we've been 86. He goes, "Oh, don't listen to him. He's his son." He goes, "Don't listen to him. I fired him." He doesn't know what he's doing. "Come on back," and he brings them 2 6 packs of beer. My dad going, you be careful. You shouldn't be, but it was just a funny scene, that cop coming down that grade. It was still a freeway, but it wasn't, it was just a grade of rock. Bringing those 6-pack, trying to get these guys back with his son. They're talking, I'm talking about maybe $500 a week they'd probably drop between the 10 of them in there, however time they would visit that bar. And he'd probably go, "Jesus Christ, I can't," So that's just a funny story. I got more funny stories about my dad. It really is funny, but I got to call that right here. Here's another quick funny. They had this in his party. He had this guy named Ace. Okay, he loved fast cars, and he had a license, a flying license. And they wouldn't believe him. They go, "Ace, you don't have a flying license. Don't get in that shit." So they took the day off, and they were working on the grade. It was almost done. It was a freeway, and cops are parked there. It was about ready to be opened, and they're working. And here comes this plane. And it lands on the grade. It lands on the road, and it slowly pulls up to where they're at, and it's Ace. And he goes, "Look, you guys, I told you I had a license." And they all start laughing. And then this cop gets his light going and is coming down the grade, and Ace looks back and goes, "God, I got to get the hell out of here." So he gets back, he goes down the thing and takes off the freeway. And the cop gets there and goes, "Who was that son of a bitch?" And he goes, "Do you know his name?" He goes, "Nope. my dad goes, nope, never saw them before in our lives. But these guys are too much. And that's just a couple of stories that are just always, I always like that my dad would tell some of these stories because it's something you're not going to see ever again. In this man's world that they were in, you know what I mean? But funny stuff. I am Jeff Africa. I'm a citizen of Earth. I'm a loyal patriot of the United States of America, and I stand unafraid. And these four, Mother Earth, Divine Mother, Paramahansa Yogananda, and Jesua and Joseph, I've enlisted to help me get this done. Once again, we're moving from the head to the heart here. This is what the world needs. This is the savior of the world, okay? That we all get out of our heads and move to our hearts and begin to live, perceive, experience, treat others, treat ourselves from this heart space, this new enlivened heart space. Some of these psychedelic trips I've taken, that I fell to my heart and began to live from that, began to drink in life from that heart chakra. And that's what this is about. We're going to make that real, okay? We're not taking that stuff anymore, okay? We're going to make this real by our own efforts, by the sweat of our brow. Thanks very much. Okay, I did this already and it didn't come out right, so I had to do it over again.